Hello, hello there again, everybody. This is the Minnesota Forecaster with the weather doctor, Dr. Tom Novak, and we're obviously not here to talk about, a spring warm up or anything. So it's going to be exciting stuff. So Tom, the last week plus has been very uneventful, very nice, very warm and pleasant. But you want to talk about something a little different?
Yeah, you would think being of course, a Minnesota native here, and you start talking about temperatures in the 30s and 40s, like we've been well into the 40s in the Twin Cities metro for it seems like several days. You would think you're crazy to start talking about snow, but it's bound to happen at some time. And I think we all realize that we can't live in this unseasonably warm weather forever. And I think the other shoe's going to drop now as we get into late December and early January.
Are you thinking that means more cold or something more interesting than that?
Well, yeah, more cold, and usually with cold comes snow. And people need to keep in mind, we had a cold November, okay? So it's really just been the last 2-3 weeks here, at least the first half of December, where we've had warm temperatures. So, it's not like this has been just a pattern for several months. It's been cold, and I do expect that to change now, this warm air to turn to more of a colder weather pattern. And I think it is going to start here right around the Christmas holiday and then continue after that. We'll see. And who knows, we could have a pretty cold January here if everything sets up correctly, especially if we start getting a snowpack.
Well, I would say there's a good bet it's going to be cold when you're talking about Minnesota in January. But it's all relative. It's all relative.
I think you're right. I mean, I just don't envision us having or warm air for the next 2-3 weeks. I just don't see that happening. And I think we're going to get into some cold air. And of course, that's going to likely bring it with it some snow. Now, Bill, we're going to get into some model guidance. Okay. Of course, this is what a lot of people want to see.
I always want to see. I always need guidance all the time.
Well, the guidance is important, of course, but we're looking at this. This is going into next week, so this would be Wednesday and Thursday of next week. This is total snow being predicted by the GFS computer model guidance, and this is the 18 Zulu run. So this is the 1 p.m. run, Bill. And the reason why I'm telling you the time frames of these model runs is because we're going to go back in time and we're going to see how consistent the model guidance has been. And this is going to show you why our, at least from a forecasting standpoint, our confidence is fairly high that a snowstorm is going to hit, okay? So, Bill, now this is the 18 Zulu run, and look at all the snow over Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin, okay? So you got me right there, right?
Yep.
Okay, here's the morning run, and this is for the same time period now. This is for Wednesday through Thursday. Look at all the snow over much of Minnesota and northern Wisconsin, okay?
You still further south on that one.
Yeah, a little bit further south, but still, what I really want you to see is look at all the snow, okay? This is the computer model run, GFS model run from yesterday evening. Look at all the snow, right? We're talking 12, 15, 18 inches of snow, and it's been very consistent with all these model guidances. In fact, let's even go back to yesterday morning and take a look at the GFS computer model guidance. Look at all the snow. So this is 4, 6, 8 successive GFS computer model runs that are all showing the same thing, and that is heavy snow over some portion of the upper Midwest with kind of a bullseye right now, right near or in the Twin Cities metro. Okay, so that's the GFS model guidance, right, Bill? Now let's look at the European model guidance to make sure that we have some corroboration between the model guidances, right? We like to make sure that they all are kind of showing the same thing, because when they do, that's when our confidence rises. And
we like consistency and consensus.
That's right, consistency and consensus. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill, I didn't hear that.
No, we like the CNC. Go ahead.
Yes, you're right. The CNC. And look at this, the European computer model guidance. Look at where it's got the bullseye of snow, almost the exact same area as the GFS model guidance. So yes, we've got a consensus between the two major what we call mid-range computer model guidances. And of course, we've had consistency because we won't go through this, but the European model guidance, even with yesterday's runs, show the same area getting heavy snow as we get into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So that is key. All right. Now, of course, there has to be red flags, Bill. There's no way that we can look 6-7 days in advance and say that a snowstorm is for sure going to happen. So what are the red flags and what will we be looking for as we go into this weekend and next week with model guidance? And of course, we look at the jet stream, right, Bill? You know how important that jet stream is. That's the river of air at about 25 to 30,000 feet in our atmosphere. Those are the steering winds. That's where the jets usually set it on cruise control. And that's usually what is at least the telltale sign of if a storm's going to develop or not.
Isn't that also the height where the noisy babies finally go to sleep on the plane?
They never go to sleep, Bill.
No,
Come
okay.
on. You must not ride on planes very often because every time I'm on a plane, it's noisy as hell, all right? And usually it's kids. But Bill, look at these troughs. Okay, here's a trough. This is for later tonight and early tomorrow morning. Look at this trough over Illinois and the Ohio River Valley, right? So no doubt there's a storm over there. Then we have this little bit of a lull, kind of a small trough over this weekend over the upper Midwest, hence the reason why we may get some spits of rain or snow this weekend. But now watch what happens as we go into next week, Bill. This is Wednesday evening. Look at this massive trough and look at these jet streaks in our atmosphere. These are winds up to 130 knots near Minnesota and over the Great Lakes. And then another, and this is a very important jet streak here, Bill, coming out of Texas and Oklahoma on Wednesday evening. This is at about 130 knots. And usually it is on the nose or on the tip of this jet streak is where storms like to develop, in between two jet streaks. And I know we're getting a little technical here, but look at this powerhouse jet streak to the north of Minnesota on Thursday morning, and then another jet streak just to the southeast of Minnesota. In between, which is right where southern Minnesota is located, that's where storms like to develop and explode. And I won't be surprised if that happens as we go in to Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Now, that was the European or the GFS computer model, Bill.
So no, there weren't really red flags in that, right?
Well, no, there's not. And there's not in the European computer model guidance, which is what you're looking at now. This is for Thursday morning. This is the jet stream on Thursday morning from the European computer model guidance. It looks almost exactly the same as the GFS model guidance. Again, it's right in between the two jet streaks, which would be right here. This is where storm systems like to develop. All right. So on the nose of this jet streak here and at the base of this jet streak in between right here, that's where storms develop. Okay. And
that's a little
right,
farther west, right?
Just a little bit. Now you're getting into the red flag, Bill. And I'm glad you brought that up because the European guidance shows this jet streak just a little bit further west than the GFS guidance. And this is why it's important because usually cold air is located on the west and north side of these jet streaks, okay? So if we put like an axis of where the jet streaks are located right here, this is where it would be, okay? And again, this is technical, but it's very important. Usually it's on the northwest side of these jet streaks is where the cold air is. Hence, that's your most likely area for snow. Okay, so if you were to believe the European computer model guidance for Thursday morning, your best bet for snow, and let me draw it again, would be right in this area here.
Tom, but did you show, I'm a little confused because didn't you show the jet stream on both models was the same, right? And
it's very similar, but there are subtle differences. Let's just go back to the European or to the GFS computer model guidance. This is the jet stream, and I mean, I love that we're looking at this, and I know that people are saying, "Wow, this is just too much." But look at where this
inside baseball.
Well, look at where this jet streak is located on the GFS computer model guidance. It's over Missouri. Okay, that's where that jet streak is located. Now let's look at the European guidance. That same jet streak is located about 300 miles further west over Kansas. Okay, the GFS.
But Tom, my question is like, when you showed the heavy precipitation bands, weren't they showing for both models in that instant? Where you were showing the red precipitation?
Yeah, they were. This is where the European computer model guidance had the snow. Okay.
So, I mean, it just seems like they're more similar in their predictions of snow, but different when it comes to where they set up the jet streaks. You know what I mean?
Just a touch, right? But that's the key, Bill. Look at where that little bit of a nudge is going to play a role. It's going to play a role. My bet is right over the Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm.
Look at where already, now again, this is 6 to 7 days out, okay? So let's all take a deep breath and just relax. But I'm already anticipating there's going to be a classic sharp gradient to the snowfall right over southern Minnesota, and that could easily set up right over the Twin Cities metro. And the reason being, Bill, and let's get to this last weather map, this last model guidance. This is the GFS computer model guidance for temperatures, okay, in the lower layers of our atmosphere. And let's go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And I want you to look at where the 0 degree Celsius, 32 degree Fahrenheit line is located. And it is located right over southern Minnesota and the Twin Cities. That's where the rain snow line or ice snow line looks like it could set up as we get into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So if there's one major red flag right now, I would tell you that we may get just a little bit too much warm air drawn up into southern Minnesota as this storm tracks right overhead on Wednesday into Thursday. And if that happens, then that means the bulk of the snow will be located over the lakes areas of central Minnesota on north and west, where the colder air is located. Okay, and that would leave us in an area of ice. I'm really worried about ice, by the way. So that would leave us in an area of ice, if not even just plain old liquid rain as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. So that to me is the biggest red flag. I don't think there's any doubt, Bill, that there's going to be a storm system and that it's going to be a pretty strong one. The key is, and the question is how much warm air is going to get drawn into the storm system and where is that jet stream going to set up? Because if we start looking at the European computer model guidance tomorrow and this weekend, and this jet streak, which I'm highlighting right here, moves about, let's say 200-300 miles further east. If it sets up over here with future model guidance runs, then we're in trouble, because then that means we're going to likely get all snow over central and southern Minnesota. So it all depends on where this jet streak, again, one more time, where does this jet streak set up as we get into Wednesday and Thursday of next week? Because if it sets up further west, that means more rain for us or ice. If it sets up further east, in Missouri, Illinois, and eastern Iowa, that means more snow for us. So that's the dilemma that we have, Bill.
So, so Tom, when do you think you'll have a better handle on this? Monday?
Maybe Tuesday night of next week.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we're right on the cusp, then it really could come down to almost hours ahead, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's really, especially when you're dealing with these sharp gradients and where the rain snow line's going to set up. Listen, we're all going to be biting our nails, especially in the weather rooms over the next 5 to 6 days, because this has the potential to be a major winter storm over a large piece of real estate in the upper Midwest. So it should be fun, Bill.
So right now it could be rain or it could be 20 inches of snow, right? I don't mean that to be, I'm not trying to be stupid, but
yeah,
that's
no weather forecaster in their right mind right now would tell you how much snow we're going to get yet. They're just not going to do it. You'll start getting snow totals from various media outlets probably as we get into Sunday night or Monday of next week.
And you, Tom, you're really a media outlet now, aren't you?
Trying to be. I hope people like this. What it really comes down to, Bill, is do people like this? Is this something that's kind of a trailblazing type of a forecast? And if people do like it, we want to hear from them, right?
Yeah, and Tom, I think this year as things evolve, we should try to figure out ways of maybe having people interact with questions or whatever, so we can make it more engaging.
Yeah, get
I
more
mean, it's funny engaging already, of course.
Yeah, get people from the minnesotaforecaster.com page, right? Have them continue to chime in, and we'll get some of those questions on too, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know what your schedule is, Tom. Maybe we can check back in a couple of days and see how things are looking.
We'll see. It's the holidays, so it gets a little tougher. But if for some reason we don't see each other, have a Merry Christmas, Bill.
Yep, you too, Tom.
All right.
All right, we'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.